Let me show you something dangerous. Your pipeline is green, deployment is successful, everything looks perfect, and your application is still down. No errors, no warnings, nothing obvious, and this is exactly how real production issues happen. So before we start, like the video, comment CI/CD, and share this with someone learning DevOps. Because today we are not just building a pipeline, we are debugging a real system. Up to now, we built a pipeline that works. It builds, it runs, it validates, even handles secrets securely. So, technically, everything is production ready, but there is one problem. We've been running everything on GitHub infrastructure, and that limits us because if the pipeline runs on GitHub servers, I can only see logs, and real debugging doesn't happen in logs, it happens in the system. So instead of using GitHub hosted runners, I am going to run this pipeline on my own machine. So let's set up a self hosted runner first. I'm going to click on new runner and click on new self hosted runner. Select the operating system. I'm using Linux x64, and here I'm going to follow the exact same instructions provided by GitHub. I'm going to open my terminal real quick, followed by let's try to bring in the terminal here, and it is asking me to create a folder and cd into that particular folder. So I will say make directory actions runner, then I'm going to change directory into that folder. So right now I'm in GitHub Actions Runner folder, followed by it is asking me to download the latest runner package. I'm going to copy this and run that same exact command, which will download that package locally in our folder on our Ubuntu virtual machine. So if you are new to my channel, I showed you how to create a virtual machine. You can watch that video. I'll try to put that link in the description. All right, let's continue. Then validate the hash. So I'm going to follow the exact steps provided by the GitHub Actions. It says OK, looks good so far. Now extract the folder. I'm going to run tar command to extract the folder. Let me copy this once again. Press enter. It will try to extract the tar file. Then it is asking me to create the runner and start the configuration experience. So I'm going to copy this once again and run that script, exact script which we have locally on our machine. Everything is extracted in this folder. Press enter. It is asking me for, yeah, connected to GitHub runner registration. Enter the name of the runner group to add this runner to. I'm going to leave it as default and enter the name of runner. Press enter for DevOps lab. I'm going to leave that as DevOps lab, followed by it is asking me this runner will have self-hosted labels. Enter any additional labels. I would like to skip this. Let's keep it as it is, self-hosted. If you want to give some other label, you can give that. And then it is asking me enter name of the work folder. I'm going to leave it as it is. All right. Now looks like the configuration is done. Last step is to run this. So I'm going to run that script real quick. run.sh. So connected to GitHub listening for jobs. All right. Let me refresh this real quick. And let's jump back to GitHub Actions here real quick. And then I'm going to click on runners and self-hosted runners. If you see, we have DevOps Lab. Now we have the runner connected to our own repository production CI/CD system. I'm going to jump back to Visual Studio Code. Here we have the application source code, episode 4, deployment success, but application is down. And also, I created a deployment pipeline. It's almost similar to our previous pipelines. I'm going to explain that real quick. And here I'm going to write it as self-hosted. So previous pipelines, if you remember, for example, I'm going to jump back here. It was running on Ubuntu latest. Now, in this pipeline, it will run on self-hosted machine. That means it is running completely on our own infrastructure where we have full control. All right. So working directory is like the same 04 deployment success, but application is down. Checking out the source code. And also I'm trying to clean up the old container if something is running. Then followed by we are trying to build the Docker image, running the container, waiting for the application, and deployment successful. That's it for the pipeline part. Now I'm going to show you the application code. For example, this is the application code, very simple. From the previous episodes, if you remember, this is very simple application code we are using. And we have a Docker file as well, if you remember. Now, let me add all these changes real quick. Commit -m, add a new pipeline, git push. Now I'm back to my GitHub repository. So we added a new pipeline, deployment failure, add a new pipeline. It started running already. Let's see where exactly it is running. So I'm going to click on setup job. If you see current runner version, runner name DevOps Lab, runner group default, machine DevOps Lab. So it is running exactly on our machine right now. If you see, listening for jobs, running job, deploy right now. All right. So build image failed. So we see an error right now. Failed to build Python pip install requirement.txt did not successfully completed. So there is some problem going on. Looks like failed to solve bin sh. Let me jump back to my Visual Studio Code, and if you see in this particular folder, I do not have requirements.txt file. That is the reason it is failing. I'm going to copy this real quick and let me paste it in this particular folder, followed by I would say git add git commit -m add requirements text file, git push. Let's see if we can pass that particular error. All right, looks like Docker build image is fine now, also running the container, and then waiting for application, deployment success message. All right, now if you see very carefully, here we have a green pipeline. It built the image, it ran the container, and also you can see deployment success message. That means if I jump back to my terminal, here I should be able to access our application on localhost port 5000. Here I see an error, connection reset by peer. But wait, our pipeline passed successfully, But then application is down. This is where most engineers panic and most people start guessing here, restart things, blame tools, but real debugging starts with observation. Now, the first step is to check whether the container is running or not. It is up and running fine. Followed by the next step is Docker logs prod container. Press enter. And if you look here very carefully, I can see the container is running, but it is running on port 5001. But if you see, our container is running on 5000 and the application is running on 5001. So internally it works, externally nothing is connected. That's why we see deployment succeeded but routing failed. Now let me jump back to the Visual Studio Code. Let's look at the application code, and in here I see 5001 that I need to correct. So this is not a pipeline issue, not a Docker issue, the system application code. Now let me real quick add that, followed by git commit -m update port. I forgot to save the file. Once again, git add update port and then push. So the pipeline is running once again. Let's see what exactly will happen now. All right, the pipeline ran successfully once again. Let me jump back to my virtual machine. Now let's try to run the curl command on port 5000 and see what kind of output we are going to get now. Press enter. If you see now, I get a message saying application is running. Now it works perfectly as expected. A green pipeline can lie, a working system tells the truth. If this made sense, like the video, comment CI/CD and share it, because this is real DevOps, not tools, real thinking. And this is why debugging is your most important skill. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.